All right, I gotta say, it's actually very refreshing to see a brand spanking new EV that's A, not an SUV or some crossover sort of thing, and B, just downright weird and bizarre. Mostly in a good way though. Yep, there is something different and new set to land on our shores from a faraway place called South Korea. And what can I say? This thing is actually pretty cool. What's up, Motorheads, and welcome back to Gearbox Pizza. If you haven't noticed, we're sort of into all kinds of weird stuff, so today's oddball electrified streamliner just sort of fits in with the rest of the misfits and the outcasts, right? Hang with us for a few as we take a look at the James Dean of K-pop of EVs. That almost made no sense. Anyway, so this is the Hyundai Ioniq 6, and you're most likely already familiar with the Ioniq 5. That is, unless the YouTube algorithm has done lost its mind again, but if that's the case, you probably didn't make it this far anyway. So, alright, so this guy, well, the 6 has a wheelbase that's 2 inches shorter than the boxy Ioniq 5, but it's almost 9 inches longer. Mega tapered on both ends with this pretty cool boat tail style booty that's sure to turn some heads. This shape, yeah, I mean, I think it's sort of sexy, right? Yeah, it's also functional because boy is this thing slippery like a half-used motel-sized bar of Dove soap. How slippery, you say? Well, how's a drag coefficient of just 0.21? And that's just about as good as that Benzo EQS. The difference here though is that the Ioniq 6 actually has some real personality. Yes, pretty sexy, while the EQS is about as exciting as just about any aspect or the entirety of the sport of golf, or like a warm 45-minute nap, either or. Yep, so props to the design team on this one. And as you'd expect, anything this slippery is going to be all sorts of money in the efficiency and range department, and that's very much true here. The Ioniq 6 is just way more efficient than that boxy Ioniq 5. Check it. Hyundai is saying that the rear drive version with the big boy 77 kilowatt hour battery is going to get you over 610 kilometers, or more importantly, well, maybe not more importantly, oh my, I better stop this. Okay, 378 miles of range. Yeah, that is some serious range right there. I mean, these days, anything you can round up to like 400 miles of range, well, that's sort of an elite club, usually reserved for mega expensive land yachts and such. Now, this isn't all due to the slippery shape, as the Hyundai engineers, well, they've also said that the 6 benefits from several powertrain optimization developments, including some next-gen semiconductors in the inverter, reworked motors that feature hairpin windings, whatever that is, and as well as re-optimized motor operations when you're swapping between single and dual motors. Alright, so what do you guys think so far? I mean, not too bad, right? Well, let's keep going. So, the motor options are looking very familiar to the Ioniq 5's offerings because both cars are built on the same platform that's called Electric Global Modular Platform. I mean, that's a bit of a mouthful, and to be honest, not that fun. So, I don't know, why not have some fun here when you're naming your platforms? I mean, I don't know, Steve. Let's just rename their platform Steve. I mean, it's better, well, maybe it's not, it's funnier anyway, I think. Anyway, the dual motor matches that of the Ioniq 5 with 321 horsepower and a solid 446 pound-feet of torque. Yeah, it's plenty of go for the money if you ask me. Actually, it's pretty crazy that we live in an age where over 300 horsepower and over 400 pound-feet of torque is sort of borderline forgettable. I mean, it was not that long ago where numbers like this were reserved for serious sports cars. But bam, here we are. What a time to be alive, my dudes. Also, like the Ioniq 5, there's going to be 2 battery options. If you're looking for the rear drive only model, you can choose from the smaller 53 kilowatt hour battery or step up to that big boy 77 kilowatt hour battery. Because not only do you want it, dude, you deserve it. You've been crushing it for like 3 years. Treat yourself, my man, trust me. I mean, you ever look back and said, man, I wish I wouldn't have gotten the fast one. Anyway, speaking of fast ones, if you're good to yourself and you go with the all-wheel drive, you just have to get the big battery, as it's not even offered with the small battery, which personally, I'm good with. Again, like the Ioniq 5, the 6 is built on that 800 volt architecture that'll let you juice this guy up from 10% to 80% in just 18 minutes. That is, if you can find a fast charger that actually works and one that can dish out 350 kilowatts of power. I mean, look, don't get me started on the state of public chargers. I'm in a good mood today. I'd like it to stay that way. Alright, onto the inside, and things are nice here also, and as you'd expect, this is kind of familiar with the Ioniq 5 in a way. It's just kind of sexier. I don't know. You ever see a pair of twins that sort of look the same, but one's just a little bit more attractive, and the other one just, I don't know, just kind of gets into that cheese dip a little too much? Well, I don't know, sort of the same thing here, I guess. Anyway, there's not much info out there on the price, but expect this to come in at a slight premium over the Ioniq 5, which is already priced pretty well. Man, I remember a few years ago looking forward to when we'll get some seriously cool EV options out there that are not only stylish, but pretty quick and fun to drive, and have range that more or less equals that of most gas cars and just won't destroy your bank account. You see, the thing about the future, it's sort of just happening all around us in like slow motion, and unless you've suddenly awoken from a coma, you really have to focus on noticing it. Yep, the future is here. Dudes, let's rejoice.